Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk with Anthea Isaac. And if you're rubbing your eyes twice, I do understand because I have been uh, pinching myself for past a week thinking that I am dreaming, but I'm not. And so aren't you. And yes, we have our guest, William Shewfelt, the Red Ranger of Ninja Steel, as our guest for this show. Welcome, William.
Wow, thank you for having me on. No, you're not. You're not dreaming. I'm actually really excited to do this. I'm a fan of your content, and it's very well thought out. And I think that you're contributing something very genuine and very heartfelt to the world. So that's very meaningful to me. And I try to do the same thing with my content. So I was thrilled to do this.
Thank you so much, William. So, William is not just a Red Power Ranger, he is an entrepreneur, a singer, he's also a speaker with various content. So, as I mentioned before, he's a singer, which most viewers might not be aware of. So, William, can we start by talking about your new music career and your new single that came out just a few days ago?
Yeah. I think it's something that a lot of people don't really know about yet because it's just in the beginning stages. Music is something that I've always been extremely passionate about, along with acting, since I was a kid. And I've got a lot of different musical influences from so many different genres. Whether we could go way back. Like I like music from the 40s and 50s and 60s, 70s, 80s. There's influences from all over the place. So the thing that kind of flipped the switch in my mind was, well, about 4 or 5 years ago, I kind of underwent this personal journey of confronting different fears of mine and going after the things that I really wanted to do in life. And acting was kind of, that's the first one that I always really wanted to do, and going after that. And by no means am I done with that journey. But music is another one that I've always been extremely passionate about. And I had the opportunity to hop on a rap song last year. And it was really fun just being in the studio and doing that. And then from there, I kept trying to get in the studio more and more often. And then I tried to gear it more towards singing. And I was like, maybe we can, the rap is cool, man, but how about we try a little bit of this? So I kept trying to move in that direction. And just over time, I would work on it. And now I'm at the point where, I've built up a few songs that I'm ready to release, and I've been releasing them kind of every week or every other week. And then the most recent single was Disfruta, and the song before that was Buena Cosa. And the songs that I'm releasing right now are very much in the genre of like reggaeton music, and it has very Latin island vibes to it. It's very summery. It's also lyrically it's Spanglish, so it's half Spanish, half English. And that's just because that's a style of music that I really love. I've loved it for the past like 10 years. And it's kind of what I want to start with.
So, you also mentioned that you write music. So, how did that start?
That started because I had to have something to say. So, I just started writing down different lyrics and writing songs. It's all part of like that full package. When you want to master that craft, or when you want to really create the kind of music that you enjoy, you have to have the vocals, you have to have the ability to write. So I would honestly say I'm just in the beginning stages of all of that, though. I'm just learning right now, songwriting and singing and some of the different vocal styles. So it's all in the beginning stages.
But your fans are already a big fan of it, and I enjoyed this song. I got to listen to it 2 days ago, and it was I listened to it in Spotify, and it was really good.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So I just went through a few of your interviews, and I got to see you confess that your life has changed incredibly after Power Rangers. So how would you distinguish your life as William before and after Power Rangers?
Yeah, so before Power Rangers, I had really just as a kid, I was like a very, very normal kid. I grew up in this small town in Northern California called Modesto. And yeah, I grew up there, and it was, we had a pretty humble, modest family. And, I think that we were raised very well. Like, I'm very grateful to my parents for the job that they did, because they instilled a lot of values, a lot of discipline, and a lot of love. And I think that kids really need that to thrive. So yeah, I went throughout school, and I did pretty well academically and athletically. And when I went off to college, I was going to, I wanted to major in economics, and I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do after that, but I was very passionate about economics. I found it to be a really interesting field. So I studied that, and I really made sure that I was like getting out there while I was in college. So I wasn't just going to class, but I was also joining organizations and doing like mock trial is something where you get to do, it's kind of like you get to play a lawyer. So you're kind of like learning how the legal system works. I did Model UN, where you're kind of playing like a delegate for the UN. So I learned some debating from that, and I learned a lot of public speaking from that. So I really tried to like expand myself in college, and I had a lot of fun. And after doing internships, I realized that, I had like bigger plans for my life. There were like bigger things that I wanted to do. And one of them that I had always badly wanted to do was acting. And I really felt a strong call to do that. So I pretty much sat down, and I really thought about, how do I create a game plan for this? And then I fully devoted myself to that for a year. And I really worked hard on that. By the end of that year, I went from having never acted in anything ever to acting in commercials and music videos, and starring in an independent film, and then moving to New Zealand to film the 2 seasons of Power Rangers. So it was a really transformational year. So many challenges, and I had so much fun. That was before Power Rangers. After Power Rangers, to be honest, it's really the same journey. I've always approached it in the mindset of setting goals and personal development. Like every single day, how are you going to get better as a person? How are you going to accomplish the targets that you set out for yourself? How do you improve your mind, your body, your relationships with your family and the people around you? It's really like you have to look at it holistically. So that's pretty much how I've always approached it. I mean, after Power Rangers, it didn't really change my life dramatically. I'll be honest. I still do the same things every day. I follow a very similar daily routine. It's not like if I go to the store, people are swarming me or anything. Sometimes a little kid will be looking at me for a while, and I'll be like, yeah, that kid probably watches it. But yeah, it hasn't changed my life dramatically. The most important thing that it did for me was it proved to me that when you have a vision in your mind and you give that everything that you possibly can, you can turn that from just a thought into reality. And that was the most important thing that it did for me. And I've used that same principle with what I'm doing now.
Oh, that's really great. And I know that you were a fan of Power Rangers. You are aware. So what was your favorite season?
My favorite season of Power Rangers, I would say I like In Space, mainly because I like Chris Kamen Lee. I think I just like him as a person. Andros is also a great character though. But I would say that's my favorite. I just feel like I can't say Mighty Morphin. It's like, if I hear one more word about Mighty Morphin, my head's gonna explode. So, it was obviously iconic, great, cool, it's done. But yeah, In Space was awesome. I love that one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't watch a ton of Power Rangers growing up. I'll tell you, like, as a kid, I was in that perfect generation where Power Rangers was huge because I was born in 1995. So, when I was growing up, by the time I was like 5, it was huge. Every kid knew about it. I saw kids wearing the backpacks on the playground. Kids were, doing that. But my thing growing up was watching WWE. Like that, I was really, really obsessed with that. This was back when they had The Undertaker, Triple H, Stone Cold, The Rock. So The Rock was wrestling back then too. But that was really what I was like into as a kid.
So actually, I was born in 1998, so it was literally the
Mm,
same time. And I
yeah.
was one among the very few girls who enjoyed Power Rangers. So
Mm.
when we were young, we a set of friends, like five of them, get together, and we are the Power Rangers, and we start playing. So that's how we enjoyed. So thank you so much for sharing it. And can you
Yeah.
narrate any one of your interesting stories with your people and your cast from your season?
Mm. Yeah, people ask me that a lot, and I never know what to tell them. There were so many funny stories, most of which you shouldn't repeat. Let me say that we played a lot of pranks. We had a lot of fun. We were a very rowdy cast. I'll say that. Like I think there are some casts that are like super professional and like they're kind of a more chill demeanor, and they show up, they do their job, and they get along and stuff. But we were like crazy. Like
Mhm.
it was on set, it was constantly jokes, 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 and we would just always have a good time. Like, 1 or 2 seconds before rolling, sometimes
Mhm.
like one of the guys might like punch one of the other guys in the stomach, and then they'd say action, and you try to do the scene, and you're like gasping for air. We had a lot of fun with it, and the ones that had the most energy on the set, it was like Christy and Nico and Zoe. They kind of like they drove this like manic energy that would take over the set. I would say me, Peter, Jordy, Caleb, we were like we all got along really well, and we fed into that too. But we were a little bit more like chill, I would say. Um, but yeah, so we all got along super well. Some of the best stories came from the fact that I lived with Nico and Caleb,
Mhm.
who are just awesome, awesome guys. Love them to death. I lived with them for those 8 months, and just living with them, like it was a fantastic experience. I'd say one of the best experiences was when Nico and Caleb and myself went to Sydney, Australia for one weekend. So we had like a 4-day weekend, and we just randomly decided, because we're in New Zealand, which is close by. So we just randomly decided, let's go to Sydney, Australia for the weekend, and like let's just hang out and enjoy. So we did, and while we were there, we went to clubs, and we got a bunch of food, and we ate, and I came back, I think 10 pounds heavier. And I remember the people in our makeup and costume department were like, "Holy crap, what happened to you?" I pretty much just went on a binge, but yeah, it was an amazing, amazing experience.
So do you miss them?
Yeah, I miss them. Yeah, there's some of them that I talk to a little bit more than others. Like I kind of keep in touch with Jordy a good amount, Peter, Nico every now and then, Caleb every now and then. But anytime I see any of them, it's like we haven't missed a step. Like we all vibe very, very well. So yeah, I'd love to see them more often.
Even I got to see some bloopers and behind the scenes of the Power Rangers, and I can uh, clearly, like see you guys having that bond, and it was really good.
Yeah, it was very, very fun. I think that's one of the things people love about Power Rangers. When they watch the team, I think they hope deep down inside that they're really like that close, that they are really friends like that, or they are really family like that. And sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're really not, and they actually hate each other. Um, but our cast was like, we were very, very close, and it was we were just like a good tight knit group of friends. So yeah.
So this is just a personal question. I
Mhm.
was actually astonished by the whole connection of all the Power Rangers getting together as one, and it has
Mhm.
always been one of the fascinating things because like since being a watcher or like viewer of all the seasons, and you see all the Power Rangers knowing each other, greeting each other, and getting together as one in various occasions. It is kind of
Mhm.
so pure and genuine. And how does that happen every time and all the time? Like you get new cast, and how do they also feel the same passion and they get connected with all the seasoned rangers? So is it like a family thingy, or how does that even happen?
Do you mean with reunion episodes, or just how do we all end up knowing each other?
Knowing each other, and also the
Oh,
reunion
okay.
episodes, the dedication where
Okay.
when you ask, they come out and they come.
Yeah.
So on screen
Okay.
and off screen.
Gotcha.
Uh,
So with the reunion episodes, the first thing around that is they always, I think every season, try to bring back different Rangers. You know, whether they do a big one, like it's the one that we did, Dimensions in Danger, where they bring back people from Mighty Morphin and all kinds of seasons, or if it's a smaller one. I think in the past, in Beast Morphers, they brought back Brennan, and I think they brought back Austin St. John. So yeah, they always try to do some sort of a reunion or like a mentoring kind of thing where they come in as like a mentor Ranger. And the Rangers, the actors are always very willing to do it because, you know, Rangers is something that it really affects our lives for the rest of our lives. You know, there will always be people around the world that will know us for being Power Rangers. And it is a huge name brand. It's a global brand in that sense. So it's had a big impact on all of our lives. And, you know, we had lifelong memories from it. So anytime they call us up and they say, hey, would you like to come back for a few episodes? You know, the vast majority of Rangers are always very willing to. So that's not hard to do. The off-screen relationships. So a lot of us will either meet through social media and we'll just like comment on each other's stuff. And then we also meet a lot of the times at conventions. So anytime we go to these different conventions and you're signing autographs and stuff, I always like to take some time out to just walk around all the booths and see who's there. And I like to meet people that I've never met before, different Rangers that, you know, I might know about or I follow them, but I've never met them. So I always like to have fun with that. I would say that I best know the Rangers from Dino Charge. I know Yoshi and Brennan and Claire pretty well. Also Davi, he's cool. Jason David Frank, I've gotten to know him better over time, and he's been a pretty good source of motivation and inspiration for me. And we like whenever we talk, we generally tend to talk about business, but I think he's a great dude for what he does. Who else? I really like Chris Kamen Lee. He's one of those guys that's just like, he's fun to hang out with. He's very fun to hang out with, and I kind of vibe well with him. He reminds me of Caleb a little bit. Caleb is like, he's just like that. He's a little rowdy and he's very fun to hang out with. Yeah, so that's kind of how we all get to know each other. Oh, Jessica Ray, who's in our Rise of the Ninja series. I got to know her through conventions, and then she got interested in what we were doing with Rise of the Ninja, and we were thrilled to bring her into it. Another thing that happens that people might not know about is that, so I live in Orange County, which is close to like North Hollywood and LA and stuff. So they occasionally have like these little bowling nights up in like LA or North Hollywood, where they'll have like 15, 20, 30 Rangers come out, and we all have like this big bowling night. So that's always fun, and it's a good way for us all to like meet each other and hang out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So getting back, I know like we got too much into Power Rangers right now. So
No, why not? Why not?
So I personally believe that starting from nothing is actually a thing where it drives you crazy to do and achieve greater things. So one of the stars who actually proved it right was you when I saw your YouTube videos. So what was the passion that drove you when you had nothing? You know, like starting from nothing actually needs a lot of you know, like confidence and willpower. So how did you find them?
What a great question. This is like my number one mission in life, is to show other kids and other people that were kind of similar to me or in my situation, that when you look at successful people, you just kind of believe, you're like, they're lucky or they're different in some way. And you just believe that deep down. You're like, you know, that's like 1 in a million. Like, you know, that there's no way I could be like that. There's no way. And like, what I want to tell everyone is it's not true. like I found that out because I really wanted to know. I was like, you always hear like you can become successful and stuff like that. And then your teachers and parents always tone it down. And they're like, yeah, you know, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or this or that, and they give you these very like reasonable expectations. And it's like, no. What if I want to go like really big? Like, can I do that? And they're like, well, you know, and they kind of like tone it down. And you're like, okay, so you're telling me I could be whatever I want, or I can like grow as much as I want, but not really. I can kind of grow into this nice career path that you think would be good for me. So I really wanted to know, like, could you really become successful? And like, just to lay this out for the people that are listening, where I came from was like, there was like 6 of us in this little 2-person apartment for like 18 years, pretty much. And, you know, we were all crammed into that apartment. My dad was the one working, you know, sometimes he didn't have work when we had the recession and whatnot. Sometimes we got really, really low on money. My mom always spent her time taking care of us, and she did a fantastic job. My mom is also of Indian descent. But yeah, she did a fantastic job with that. And that's where we came from. So we didn't have much in the way of like money or anything like that, but we had very good parenting and a lot of love. And I think that's very important. One of the things that really helped me to start to build up myself and like who I am as a person is finding things that I was passionate about and getting better at them. So for me, at a young age, that was karate. And I joined karate at 5, and I did that until I was 12. And just going to practice and learning different moves, and you're sweating and you're working hard, and then all of a sudden you go from a white belt to a yellow belt, and then you go from a yellow belt to a green belt. And it starts to internalize this belief in hard work. And you think, okay, and then all of a sudden you're up to brown belt, and then you get a black belt, and you think, wow, like I never would have thought I could get a black belt. And same thing went with like bodybuilding and weight training and things like that. I started doing that when I was 13, and I was like the skinniest kid in school, like very, very weak, very skinny. And I started doing that, and within 1 year, my body completely transformed. And that also reinforced that belief in hard work. So that was also super important. I would say one of the major things I learned from that, when I started going for my acting journey, I was 20 and I had no money, like none. And a lot of people say that, but I mean, literally, if I looked at my bank account, it would be like $1.82, like nothing. And I started from that, and I had to figure out, and I also had nothing in terms of acting either. I had never acted. And I had to figure out, like, how do I get from here to where I want to be? And what I learned about that is the process of goal setting. So you set, what's the big goal? Okay, well, I want to do acting. Okay, cool. What does that mean? Well, I want to star on a show. Okay, so you want to star on a show. When do you want to star on a show by? For how long? Well, I would love to do that within 1 year, because then I would be able to really push far in my acting. And you write that down, and then you ask yourself, like, okay, so what's stopping me from doing that? All right, well, I don't know how to act. I don't have any connections. I don't have an agent. I don't have headshots. I could be in better shape. I could do this. I could do that. And I wrote down all of those things that I needed to do. And then you break it down, like, okay, this month, what am I going to do? All right, well, this month I'm going to get on a workout plan, and I'm going to set up a headshot photo shoot so I can get some headshots. And then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And then every single day you work on that, and you check them off as you do them. And that's literally how it works. That's literally how you can achieve pretty much anything you want to in life. Any ambition or desire that you have in your heart, whether it's music or acting, or if it is something like being a doctor or a lawyer, or if it's getting a PhD, or if it's traveling the world, or if it's starting your own cooking show, or like whatever you would desire to do. Same thing with physical goals, with mental goals. It's the exact same process, and that's what I use for everything in my life. You figure out, where am I going? And that's important, because most people just kind of like, they're very random. You have to think, like, where am I going exactly? And then you ask yourself, like, honestly, like, what do I need to work on? And then you do that every single day. Like, I'm going to show you this because I don't know who's watching this, but this might help somebody right now. So this is my little to-do list thing. So this is like what I do every single day. So right up here, 8 hours of sleep, I cross that off. I'm supposed to have, for my fitness goals, I'm supposed to have 2 protein shakes. You saw me drinking 1, and then 3 meals. And I cross those off here. I'm supposed to meditate in the morning and at the night. I cross those off here. Music, I'm supposed to write 15 lines of music, and I'm supposed to do my vocal warm-ups and then rehearse each of these songs. I cross those off here. For my business, I'm supposed to record a podcast, write a newsletter, post content on Instagram, post content on the WhatsApp group, and I cross those off here. So sorry to go into all that detail. Some people are probably like, time to exit the podcast, but I'm telling this stuff for the kid that's just like me, who's like, yeah, but how do you do that? Like, how do you become an actor? How do you get in shape? How do you get into music? How do you do this or that? That's how you do it. Exactly what I just showed you there. Big goal, little mini chunk goals, daily goals, check them off every single day. That's it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, I am a lot inspired to do that too. So, as you mentioned earlier, you are into acting, fitness, and even now music. So we have this very popular phrase that is jack of all trades or masters of none. So many even advise us to not get into a lot of things, but just follow one goal or one particular career so that we master it. And when I see you, you have been exploring in a lot of things, and rather than mastering it, I can see that you're enjoying everything. And that's how I am. Like, I talk, I write, and people always ask me to concentrate in any one thing. So I personally wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on this phrase, and how would you reconstruct it, and just a pinch of your life too?
I would say that I'm like, what I focus on is ultimately, so there is truth to that phrase, jack of all trades, master of none. There is some truth to that. If you want to be good at a lot of things, you can do that. And then if you want to be great at something, you will have to reorganize the priorities. So there's going to be one that's number one, and then there's going to be, maybe 2s and 3s. And sometimes you'll have to sacrifice the 2s and 3s so that you can focus on the number one. But what people should know is that not everyone wants to be great. And that's a weird thing to say, but not everyone wants to be number one at something. Not everyone wants to be the top singer in the world, or the top athlete, or the top doctor in their country, or this or that. Not everyone wants that, and that's completely okay. You can have, a good career, and you work maybe a 9 to 5, and you have your family, and you have your hobbies, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there are some people who do want to achieve greatness in a career path. And when that's your focus, and when you have that, like, that fire inside of you, and you can't do anything else, you're like, I have to achieve greatness at something. Like, I need to be someone in this world. I need to be significant. I have to be known. When you have that feeling inside, it's not going to go anywhere. So you have to sit down and figure out, what is the thing that I want to do? But here's where that phrase is wrong. When you're young, you don't know what you want to do. There's no way. You haven't done enough stuff. The beauty of me doing all the economic stuff was that I found out that's not where I wanted to devote my life. But if I did what every other student at college did, and I said, okay, I'm done with my degree now, what job do I need to apply for? Damn, this is what I got to do with my life now for the rest of my life. All right, well, everybody else is doing it, so I'll just sign up here and I'll go get my job, and they have this phrase, working for the weekend. So you work during the week, and you're just hoping for the weekend to come because you hate your job so much. And when the weekend comes, you try to have fun, and you binge watch shows, and you go to the beach, and you have fun, and you hang out with friends, and you drink and stuff. And then you go back to that job that you hate on Monday. I think that's a really bad way to live life. So I believe when you're young, your number one job is to find out what you're passionate about. Like for the first 25 to 30 years of your life, that's what you should be focused on. What am I passionate about? What am I on fire for? What are the things that I want to achieve in life? And that's all you really need to focus on for those first 25 to 30 years. And lifespans are increasing, by the way. You know, like it's not like it used to be where people at 65 and 70, it's like, that's it. People are now living to 80, 85, 90. And with the current like fitness craze and diets, like people are taking really good care of themselves. So we have to think more longer term. And so that's the number one job. With what I'm doing currently, do I have the need for greatness? I do. And I do fully intend to focus in on one thing that becomes my overarching vision and become great at that. But where I'm at currently, I'm still feeling things out. I have experienced acting. I've experienced running an online business. I've experienced creating content and podcasting and YouTubing and doing music. And I've experienced all of those different things. And I'm starting to build a mental map. And what I would like to do, and this is very possible, is to spend 5 to 10 years in certain fields. So maybe I take 5 to 10 years to become great at acting and to go as far as I can in that. Take 5 to 10 years to become great at music and go as far as I can in that. And that's the way that I want to live my life. Some people are okay with just doing one thing until the day they die. They're like, no, I'm going to do this, and that's all I'm going to do because I have to be good at it. But that's not the only way to live life. One of the guys that I always look to for sort of inspiration and mentorship with this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I follow his model a lot. And when he was young, he got into bodybuilding. He started a mail order business. He worked in a construction business with his best friend. He took acting classes at night while he was working out 5 hours a day. He made appearances all over the world. He would do seminars and stuff. Oh, and then he also saved all his money. And then at 25, he got into real estate while he was bodybuilding. And then by the time he was 30, he started to really focus on acting. Focused on acting, for the next 15, 20 years. And then he decided, I want to focus on politics. He became the governor. So he's a perfect example that you don't just have to do one thing. And if you have 24 hours each day, you can budget that time however you want. And then the last thing I would say about that is when people tell you that, you should look at them and look at their life and ask yourself, do I want to live a life like this person that's giving me this advice? Are they a master of their trade? And do I want to have a life like them? Do I like the way that their life looks? And if not, then take their advice with a grain of salt, because it's probably well meant, but it doesn't mean that you have to do what they're telling you to do. And that applies for your parents, that applies for your teachers, that applies for your mentors and advisors and everybody that gives you advice. All of these elders that are meant to tell you when you're young what to do. Everything they tell you, look at their life and then look back at your life and say, okay, that's good advice and I'm going to take it into consideration, but I don't have to do what they're telling me to do. I can come up with a plan of my own. And as long as I work hard at it, then it's legitimate. If you have big dreams and aspirations and you don't work hard at it, you're going to fail. So you have to work hard at whatever you do, though.
Yeah. So, and I was hearing one of your podcast episodes where you mentioned that you were passionate about life, which is actually an overwhelming statement, because we become passionate about our work or anything that we love, hobbies and stuff. But being passionate about our life may not be like a state of mind most of the times. That's what I believe. Even I try to be passionate, there are times where I derail from it. So how do you stay passionate about life, and how do you motivate yourself through this?
Yeah, so the number one thing that you have to do to be passionate about life is to fill your life up with things that you love, to fill your life up with things that you're passionate about. And this takes work. You don't just overnight, you're like, wow, I love life. I've had to work to get to this state. So early on, doing jobs that I didn't really enjoy, and I would always try to see, okay, how can I move to something I like a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more? And you just do that over time. And now, my life, I fill it up with, I love to work out. I love to write newsletters. I love to do podcasts. I love to help people with their fitness journey. I love to make music. I love to act. I love like all of that stuff. I love reading. I love learning. I love traveling for work and things like that. So I fill my life up with all of that stuff, and I try to keep my life full of that. And that's the thing that, I never feel like I'm burnt out or I'm exhausted or like I don't feel passionate anymore, because I'm always focused on what it is that I love to do. Steve Jobs had a really good quote when he said that every single morning he would wake up and he would look at himself in the mirror and he would ask himself, if today was the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And he said that whenever the answer was no for too many days in a row, then he would realize that he had to make a change. And that's kind of the way that I live my life. If I'm unhappy or if I'm dissatisfied with my life for too many days in a row, then I know that something's going on and I have to make a change. But you don't have to settle for an unhappy life. Like a lot of people do, and you don't have to. There's no reason that you have to do that. As long as you're willing to work hard at it, you can always work your way into having a life that you enjoy. And yeah, like I have a lot of fun with it. Like all this stuff is fun. Like earlier today, looking forward to, we're going to do this interview and we're going to get to talk about this stuff. And then right before this, I was off at Home Depot buying supplies because I'm setting up a little home studio so I can record my music. Like that was fun. And then earlier today, I was like writing some fitness content stuff for people. That was fun. So it's all fun. Like I enjoy all of this stuff.
Okay, so since you brought it, I just wanted to give a shout out for your carnivores challenge that's coming up in the August. So would you like to give a word to our viewers and what to do, how to enroll themselves so that you can take time?
Yeah, you're perfectly prepared. Wow, this is awesome. So the Carnivore Shred Challenge, these are 21-day challenges that we do every month. And the goal of them is to really help people that maybe you've fallen off the bandwagon with your exercise or your diet or something like that. And let's say your motivation isn't there. So for 21 days, what we do is we customize a diet plan to the person. We also send them these high intensity workouts if you want to do home workouts or gym workouts. And then the third thing is we have a really cool community. So not only are we always talking on the WhatsApp and people are sharing their meals or here's my workout, here's how it went. And then we also have weekly Zoom calls where I check in with everyone on a Zoom call and I ask them, how's it going for you? Do you have any questions, any obstacles? And we all learn from each other. So those three things, the diet, the training, and the group, the actual community. And within 21 days, we've had people lose 15 pounds, 17 pounds sometimes. They get their motivation back. They get energetic again. They're excited about life. So that's really the point of it. And it pushes you in the right direction. And then you can keep that momentum going. So that one starts Monday, August 3rd. That's the next one. And you could sign up for that at 21daycarnivoreshred.com. And yeah, we have these every month.
Okay, thank you so much, William. It was really a wonderful interview. So yeah, we are wrapping, and and I hardly felt that the time was coming. I really enjoyed your answers, and personally, I was motivated a lot. So thank you so much for your time and your thoughtful words. It was really inspiring.
Well, thank you, Anthea, for you taking the time out to do this, for one, and also the amount of thought and preparation that you put into this. Listening to other interviews that I've done, looking through my posts, hearing the recent music about the Carnivore Shred challenges. You're very well thought out. You're very professional. And I know that anything that you do in life, you're going to put the same level of thought and dedication to it. So I'm excited to see what you do.
Thank you so much, William. So finally, would you like to give a word to our viewers, including all your social media accounts and what to follow and things so that,
Yeah, well, just thank you guys for listening. And the one message I always try to impart to everyone is to go after their full potential in life, because why not? You know, like life ends at a certain point. So while we're here, why not see, hey, if I really tried, like, who could I become? You know, like, what if I really tried? And I think that's a really interesting question to answer. So I hope everyone kind of takes that away from this and focuses on getting one step better every day. And in terms of social media, on Instagram, it's at William Shewfelt, SHEWFELT. On YouTube, I think you could just type in William Shewfelt and you'll find my YouTube channel there. And I also have a podcast, the Will to Win podcast, which is, it's kind of about similar stuff, self-improvement and health and things like that. And then music, if you look me up on Spotify, you'll see the most recent 2 songs, and I'll have a lot more songs coming out soon. And yeah, I would say that's pretty much it.
Yeah, your pages are also available in Twitter and Facebook, so make sure to.
Yes. I'm also on there too. Trying to think what else. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And your recent cameo.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if people want shout outs on Cameo, you know, a lot of people like to do birthday shout outs for their kids or things like that. Some people even ask for like advice type shout outs. So yeah, whatever you guys want to do, I'm on Cameo as well.
Yeah. So thank you guys. And as for me, you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Anthea Isaac. And there's a Facebook page, Anthea Dorothy Isaac. So you can follow me there. And next week, I will make sure to come up with another exciting guest. So hope you enjoyed this episode. Do make sure to comment and show your love for William. And if you would like to have William again for an episode, we are ready to bring. I'm sure William is ready to come.
I would love to, because I feel like we just scratched the surface.
So thank you so much for watching, and do stay home, stay safe, and spread love and be loved. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.